giving me a warm welcome. Right. Okay. So we have around 62 present, 62 students with us. I think it's good to start and hope others will be joining with us. Right. So my task today is to guide you through how to analyze the data using SPSS, focusing mainly on two analytic techniques, the correlation and regression. Since you have been learning SPSS and these statistical techniques with us, especially with our lecture panel attached to advanced statistical application, I do believe that you have a good understanding on the same. So whereas I will be guiding you how you are going to prepare your data set for the analysis and as well how the data compilation the has to be done in the SPSS so that data will be ready to be inserted into any statistical technique, mainly the correlation and regression. There, of course, I need your full participation here in terms of uh, answering the question and as well giving me the right requirement for which you are waiting for, right? If I'm very clear about what you really want me to do here, I can tailor my delivery based on your requirement. Otherwise, I may doing the content, delivering the content, but I'm believing suitable for you. And finally, your expectation may not met if we haven't we didn't have a kind of good communication. So I believe that you will understand that fact, and I'm not a new person to you. So you will be supportive and cooperative enough in communicating what really you want me to do here, because we have uh, given very limited time, unlike in a physical session whereas you can go for many questions and all. Based on your availability, we decided on going for online, so you have to seize the best out of the opportunity given, right? Let me brief my plan for today session. We have 3 hours time allocated starting from 7. So then while in between, I'm wishing to have a half an hour break as well for you to refresh. And then we will be concluding by 10 o'clock, right? Then from the uh, beginning, the earlier session part, we will be looking into this SPSS things, and then we will be moving into the correlation and regression. Right, and before commence with, I want to know how many how many of you have done with your data analysis. Can you please raise your hand? මේ වෙනකොට data collection ඉවර කරලා තියෙන අය. Please raise your hands. We will be taking the workshop participation, and for that there's a mark allocation in your evaluation system, as you are very clearly aware. So please rename yourself with your registration number and the name with initials. Because with this recording, we are going to mark your presence, and based on that, you are going to get 5% of 5% out of the final 100 for the attendance to the workshop. So can you please raise your hands who haven't completed your data collection? Because for completion, I didn't get any result. Can you raise your hand if you are still in the process of collecting data? Yes. Oh my goodness, all are in the process of collecting. What about others? 2040110 Abhivardhana, Anaf, right? 020, right? What about them? It seems majority. Right? Majority is in the process of collecting data, right? Okay, never mind. So it's not right. Please put down your hands. So even if you are not completed with your data analysis, data collection, you can still uh, work with me because if you have been collecting more than 50% or nearly 30-40%, the final outcome that you will be getting with the complete or entire sample may not that um, have a significant variation from the result with a low sample value, right? So say assume that your sample is 384, that is the most that is the sample size of most of the studies, quantitative studies. If it is 384, assume that by now we have completed nearly 150 or 200, then you can still perform the analysis and the outcome that you are getting is quite very similar once you gather 384 and perform the analysis, because only this coefficients might be having a different value, whereas the nature of the outcome will remain same. So that will be helpful for you to draft the this finding chapter, right? You can, with all data you can draft it, because there won't be that much variation with the entire sample as well. So once the sample is done, you can do some replacing, right? So don't wait until all the data collected or getting into your hand, whereas you can, in between, you can perform the analysis and to have an idea and start writing, right? And once with the entire data, you can complete or fine tune the writing, right? Okay. So those who raise your hand can raise down your hands, right? So before starting with the SPSS, I will be uh, just guiding you to perform some, sorry, really some theoretical facts as well. It won't be that lengthy, but I will be just recalling, right? Trying to recall the tough for you, right? So here we will be looking into the common issues and how we are going to use the techniques. First, we will be looking into the nature of data analysis, univariate and bivariate and multivariate tools available. These stuffs are very familiar to you, so I'm not I mean, going into that detail, right? Okay, so the data analysis process usually start with preparation of data set. this has to be done, right? So in case that you have been getting the Google form data, whereas many of you has collected the data using a Google form, first of all, you have to convert them it into uh, a data file which is suitable to be tackled by the SPSS, right? So there, of course, you need to do some transformation, replacement and coding and all, right? So first thing is to prepare your data set, and then is to purification of data and performing missing value analysis. Data purification means looking the correctness of the data and eliminate the data if there's any unmatched data. data set එකට ගැලපෙන්නේ නැති data set එකක් data element එකක් තියෙනවද අපේ data වල නිර්වද්‍යතාවය මොකක්ද කියලා තහවුරු කරගන්න ඒ data අපි පිරිපහදු කිරීම කාර්යය ඊළඟට කරනවා. So they are, of course, for example, assume we have collected the data for 1.5 Likert scale, 1 to 5 Likert scale එකකින් collect කරේ. 5.18 1 to 5 තියෙනවා. ඒක එක responses එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් 7 කියලා. So it is something odd. There won't be any value beyond 5 if the scale is between 1 and 5. So we have to look into that. If it is an erroneous typing, you have to correct it, or else you have to eliminate that data. So like that way, purification has to be done in order to filter out the right set of data to be analyzed. Then you have to perform the missing value analysis. That means look for the values which are being missed in the data set. And some measures has to be taken in order to impute the values which are missing, right? So you can use different methods which we are going to look at later in order to impute the missing value. So that is based on what you believe, right? It's based on your belief about the missing value. Right. Next comes the validity and reliability. Validity, reliability, and command method variance or command method bias has to be checked in terms of multi-item variable. What do you mean by a multi-item variable? මොකද්ද multi-item variable එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ? Yes, what do you mean by a multi-item variable? I ask you to be supportive and interact with me during the session. Otherwise, I may not able to conduct as the way that I have been expecting. Yes? Multi-item variable. What's an item? Yes? No idea. If you don't have an idea, you have to say no idea. Yes, hurry up. Multi-item variable and what is an item? Right, since it's wasting our time, I'm briefing. Item means the questions. If you have 50 questions in your questionnaire, we call them an item. Right? 50 items. So multi-item variables are there that we test with many items, right? There are variables which we will be able to test with a single item. For example, if you say the gender, we can ask your gender. Options male, female. Right. Okay. Multi-item variable is a variable which we no, variable which we are going to measure using number of questions. Say for example, we can measure the gender, right? But with a single question, we can answer what is your gender. For option, we can give male and female. Then the gender as a variable is being measured using a single item, right? A single item has been used to measure it. Apart from that, you can measure a variable. You have to measure in some instances a variable using several items. So for example, we are going to measure the job satisfaction using 5 to 6 items, 5 to 6 questions. Then it becomes an multi-item variable because in order to measure that variable, multiple items has been used. Right. Okay. So when you have multi-item variables, it is needed to test that these items are correlating each other in order to measure a single variable, while meantime it as a set of items differentiate from other items of other variables. For instance, we can have 7 items for measuring job satisfaction and another 4 items for turnover intention. Then the 7 items of job satisfaction has to be correlated to each other, which we call the reliability. Because why it is needed to correlate each other? ඇයි එකම variable එක මනින items ටික එකිනෙකා correlate වෙන්න ඕන? Do you get my point, my question? In order to be reliable, when there's multiple item for a variable, there should be a high level of correlation among the items, which are measuring a single variable. Why it is that? Yes, it's because they are been measuring a single variable. So, if a single variable is being measured by number of items, that means all the item has to be measuring the same object. So, then there should be high correlation. In contrast to that, we should not be having high correlation or relationship among the items of different variables. So I was telling there are 2 variable job satisfaction and the turnover intention, right? the items, 7 items which are supposed to measure the job satisfaction has to be highly correlated, that then it becomes reliable. On the other hand, the items, assume four items that we have been using to measure the turnover intention shouldn't be having any connection or correlation with the items of job satisfaction. Right? Validity will looking whether these items differ significantly from the other items. Right? Is it clear? Right? These things has to be clearly mentioned when you are presenting your data. Next comes the command method variance, or we call it as a command method bias. Command method variance we have already done when we are doing a CFA. Right? So command method variance is, assume that we have number of factors. Right? So for the turnover intention, you have their turnover propensity and the internal factors, financial factors, political, and the personal, right? When there are a number of items, so factors to measure a certain single variable, you have to look in out of the factors of a variable. A single factor may not be covering much more aspect. Much weight will be there. Right? So there's a method called Harman single factor variance in which we are going to test whether at least one of our item is not measuring the variable more than 60%. Right? සරලව කිව්වොත් factors එනවනම් අපට questions ටික බෙදලා factors වලට ගත්තාම factors 5ක් එනවනම් ඒ පහෙන් එකක්වත් variable එකේ variance එකට 150ට වඩා contribute කරන්න බෑ. Right? Is it clear common method variance? 150ට වඩා එක fact එකෙන් explain කරනවා නම් අපි කියනවා එතන common method bias තියෙනවා කියලා. එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ. මොකද මේක multi item variable එකක් කියලා අපි කිව්වම ඒ එක fact එකෙන් explain කරන්න පුළුවන් 150ට වඩා අඩුයි. Right? So once you have done with the validity, reliability and common method variance, now you can start with presenting descriptive analysis. And here as well, keep in mind, don't present the descriptive statistic for the sake of present. Instead, what you have to do, you have to present the descriptive statistic based on your learning outcomes. If you have been looking into the places and the averages and all, then you have to think of the level or the outcome. Fine. Right? So there, of course, you have to select only the most suitable ones for you. ඔයාගේ ස්ටඩි එකට ඒ ඩේටා එකට ඒ ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකට ගැලපෙන විදිහ ඇනලිසිස් විතරයි perform කරන්න ඕන. Right? And you are allowed to ask question anytime. ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න පුළුවන්. Then once you have been presenting the descriptive statistics, right? So once the descriptive analysis is done, we will be performing the main data analysis in supporting our uh, right. Okay, once the statistical analysis is done using the test and model, you have to perform the interpretation of the result. So this is the area where many of you lose your competency. බහුතරයක් දෙනාට ගැටලුව වෙන්නේ මේ කොටසදී. Even though you have been presenting a very nice one, nice presentation and everything, but when it comes to the report doesn't reflect any of it. Right? So with these results, you can go for interpretation and checking for the validity assumption. Right? This how it goes. Right. Once the interpretation is done, it is the most important thing. You can check for validity of assumption. Right. Okay. I think so. From here onward, we can follow this order, and I'm wishing to follow this order. If you have any concerns, please let me know. Right? We're going to start with preparation of dataset. Here, when it's come to the preparation of dataset, I'm also not that familiar with that actual process. Anyhow, right. Okay, you know the definitions of variable, and there are types of data. Under the definitions of variable, we have right. Okay. Coming to the scales of measurement, you know how important they are when it comes to the analysis. මේ scales of measurement කියන එක කොච්චර වැදගත්ද? Right. Okay. Um, so I think we can start over. Right. So identification of invalid data. Right. So this is how we are going to eliminate these data, invalid data, using frequency table. Right. Okay. I think we can start now. These are the definitions for validity and reliability. Right. Okay. Right. So these are the validity reliability measures, and I'm not going to do it. Since we are practicing it, we can do. And I'm moving into the descriptive statistics. You can use either tabular form, graphs, or summary measures.
Madam?
Oh, ඉසිරි මම මියුට් වෙලාත් හිටියේ.
Oh, madam.
Oh,
Now it's okay, madam.
I'm sorry. Please remind me if I have mute myself, right?
Sure, madam.
Okay. We were talking about the tables, graphs, and summary measures. As summary measures, you can use tables or graphs. And when it's come to the nominal and ordinal scale, you can use frequency table, and you can get frequencies or else the percentages, and mode and all, with the nominal and ordinal data. When it's come to the other type of measurement scale, you can choose the other summary measures such as the mean, standard deviation in case of interval and ratio. Otherwise, the presentation may not be that meaningful, right? So this diagram summarize all the tabular and the graphical technique that you can use in when the analysis is qualitative and quantitative. When the quantitative analysis is taking place, these are the more frequently adopted tabular methods available for you. Frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, cumulative relative frequency, stem and leaf, cross tabulation. Apart from that, graphical methods are there as the dot plot, histogram, or give scatter in terms of qualitative data. When you move into the it's for quantitative. Qualitative data, for qualitative data, you have frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, and percentage frequency distribution and cost tabulation. Whereas as graphical technique, you can go with bar chart and pie chart, right? Coming to the analysis, basically they fall into three categories: univariate, when you are testing your hypothesis with a single variable, like one sample t-test, where you are testing a mean of a certain group is similar or not with a given standard mean value. So mean is the only variable that we have been considering there. So it will be a univariate statistical analysis. And this is the bivariate analysis, whereas you have two variables in order to test the hypothesis, like job satisfaction and turnover, right? Doing supply chain management practices on the employee performance. Right? So like that way. If there's more than two plus variables, we call it multivariate analysis. So it will incorporate multiple variables, right? Uh, three plus three or more, right? There, of course, you have to use multiple statistical analysis techniques such as the regression, not the simple linear, but the multivariate regression. Right. So by now you are very clear whether you are going to use univariate, bivariate, or multivariate. In most of the research models, I have seen the multivariate statistical approach is there. So you have to carefully pick what is the most appropriate technique for keeping records. Right. Under the univariate statistical technique, when there's a single variable, there may be number of groups within the sample. One variable, one or more groups, right? And again, we are having smaller sample where the normal assumption is not met, and large samples where the normal assumption uh, is a normality assumption is met, right? So if it is one group with one variable, we go for one sample t-test. And if there are smaller sample size, these are the techniques, run tests and binomial tests. When there's two groups, right? That's the parametric and non-parametric distinction. When there's two groups within a one variable, right, we can use two sample t-test. Next is the situation where we have one variable but two groups. Then you will be going for two sample t-test when the sample size is large and the data set is normal distributed. Then what if other way around? Data is not normally distributed. So we'll be looking into non-parametric tests such as Wilcoxon and Mann-Whitney. And there will be another situation where you have one variable but more than two groups, even much more bigger value, right? Then you have to look for ANOVA analysis of variance as a parametric tool, right? If the data is not normal distributing, you can go for K-sample, Friedman, and Kruskal-Wallis. Right, so that is one variable situation. Right now, of course, we might be having two variables. Most of the research models are of that nature, right? So bivariable. So this bivariate analysis, then you have to have a test uh, about the scale of measurement. First, you have to look in whether both of them are continuous. May variable become a continuous, right? Continuous scale like that, if they are continuous, then again large and small group distinction is there because it directly related with the normality of data. So if both are continuous, we go with the correlation. Pearson correlation with large sample. And if the sample is too small uh, and it is not up to the normality, then you have to pick the non-parametric techniques such as rank correlation, that is Spearman's correlation. Assume a situation where there is a single continuous variable and one categorical variable. So then the parametric option will be ANOVA, and you can go for Kruskal-Wallis test relating to the smaller sample. If it is both categorical, we can go for log linear model as parametric and non-parametric counterpart is the chi-square analysis. So this illustrate complete options available for bivariate techniques. Now we'll see the multivariate statistical technique. In order to test whether which statistical technique applies to us, we have to test that does the model carry at least one dependent variable. අපි ඇනලයිස් කරන්න යන මොඩල් එකේ එක හරි dependent variable එකක් තියෙනවා. dependent variable එකක් තියෙනවා නම් එකක් හරි තියෙනවා නම් අපි තෝරගන්නවා dependence method. Yes now. If there's no dependent variable, we can use interdependence method, right? Which we have not been usually familiar with. Interdependent techniques, there's no one variable or variable subset is to be predicted from and explained by others. When there's no dependent variable, these techniques will be useful. Fact analysis to classify the variable, like we have been performing the fact analysis and cluster analysis and multidimensional scale, right? And when the dependence methods are being our choice, if that is our choice, right, they should be having two distinct variable, independent and dependent. Under the dependence method, we will be performing multiple regression analysis. There, of course, there are number of options. Under the general linear model, you can have ordinary least square method. That is a technique that we adapt using estimation. Or else we can go for generalized linear model, which accommodate both normal, not normal categorical. Then, apart from the multiple regression, these dependent techniques include the multiple discriminant analysis too, and multivariate analysis of an variance we call MANOVA, and the structural equation modeling or the SIM at the very end. So that is the most advanced statistical technique available by now, right? So we come into these practical aspect where you can raise your questions, right? Before moving into the practical stuff, right? So let me know if there's any questions. Yes? Are there any questions from the things that we have been discussing? Right. You don't have. No questions at all, and by now you are very clear whether you are going to use the correlation, regression, structure equation modeling, right, ANOVA. No, right, okay. Then we will be moving into the statistical analysis. Initially, we will be looking in how you are going to prepare your data set. There, I want to know something from you. Do you have an understanding about how we are going to get prepare this Google data for Google Sheet? Yes or no? Yes? No? Right. Okay. If you don't want me to touch that part, I'm not going to do it, demonstrate it here. Instead, I will be starting with how we are going to uh, prepare the data set in the SPSS, right? If you still want how we are going to getting this Google Sheet data into the SPSS, please let me know.
Yes, madam, we need to know that.
Right. Okay. But at least there's a single student, right? I think you can start performing with me because then uh, you won't forget the way that we have been doing, right? If you can do along with me, then it will be great, right? So here, what you are seeing in this in screen is a data set which we have been downloading from the uh, Google form, right? So this is a Google form data. You can see you have time, gender, age, income, right? The question that we have been asking is here, right? The top range, right? So this is a study which is looking into the social media platform and the online shopping for the apparel product, right? So this is what you are getting. Now, as this is in qualitative form, you may not be able to analyze it in the SPSS. Why? The SPSS is a numerical based one. It's very hard to perform this qualitative or a subjective answers. These are anyway words, spring, right? Make up is spring එකක් විදිහට තමයි සලකන්නේ SPSS. ඉතින් මෙහෙම තියාගෙන අපිට analyze කරන්න බෑ. How we are supposed to get the mean out of it and how we are going to perform the correlation from this? No way. So first of all, you have to refine the data in a way that is suitable for analysis, right? So there are several methods of doing so. And you have different coding for each, right? Then here you might have label female as 1 and male as 2. Whereas it has been typed here and you can't get any numerical evaluation out of that, right? Frequency and percentage can be obtained, but not the summary measures such as mean, standard deviation, variation, and all, right? So if you still feel that you need to convert these things into the numeric form, you can do it here. But the best thing is to do it here because when you upload the data or you are exporting the data to the SPSS, that will be affecting to your calculation. This kind of variable, that's fine. දැන් මේ gender වගේ variable එක ගැටලුව එච්චර බරපතල නෑ. නමුත් මේ විදිහේ research variable වලට බලපාන. right? මෙතන Likert scale එකෙන් measure කරලා තියෙන ඒවට ඒ බලපෑම තියෙනවා. So if you feel like that you need a numerical value to be attributed to each of these things, you can do so, right? So here, what you can do, you can just convert these values. We call these values. This is an item and these are the values of it. Okay? මේ value එක අපිට convert කරගන්න පුළුවන් numerical value එකකට as mentioned in the questionnaire. questionnaire එකේ operationalization එක අපි දීලා තියෙනවා නම් 1 කියන්නේ female 2 කියන්නේ male කියලා මේ විදිහට අපිට convert කරගන්න පුළුවන්. One method is you can write an if condition. If condition එකක් ලියන්න පුළුවන් if B2 equals female, outcome will be 1, right? If not 2 කියලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Or else you can use the find and replace technique, whereas you can paste the female and ask the Excel to paste 1 everywhere the female is, right? So then for the males, you can follow the same, right? And other than that, there's another way. Manually, you can do it for a smaller sample. If your sample size is 10, 20, 30, right? If you're still willing, you can do it, right? But even 30 now, අපි මේ වගේ technique එකකට යන්න එක හොඳයි, right? The most simple way is the going with the find and replace. So this is how we are going to do it. You have to paste it as it is because it is searching for exact. හරියට මේකම paste කරන්න ඕන find and place එකේ. මොකද මේක වෙනස් වුණත් එයා ඒක detect කරගන්නේ නැති නිසා. So for the find what you can give field. I was copying it and replace with 1. Right? You can give the find all or in the find next, right? So you can give replace all, and it has been doing 217 replace. You can close. Now you can see all the values females has been replaced with 1, and for the male you can do the same. And ask for replacement. Then it has been done 94 replacement, right? So then it's done. In the same way, you can convert this Likert scale data into the numerical values before you are exporting data to the SPSS. Otherwise, if you are pasting the data, they will consider as a string and this can be changed later, right? And whatever the data you need, this numerical replacement can do like the same, right? There may be a problem when you paste it other way. I will undo this. Right now, we are back to see. Assume that I am going to do the replacement this way. Find and replace. I will be replacing male first. See what's happened. බලන්න මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. male කියලා තියෙන හැම තැනටම එයා දෙක දීගෙන ගිහලා තියෙනවා. right? ඒක නිසා ඔයා female එක මුලින් දීලා replace කරගත්තම female දෙන්න. එහෙම නොවුනොත් මෙන්න මෙතන දැන් කරන්න තියෙන්නේ to replace වෙලා තියෙන term එක fee2 කියන්නේ female කියන එක. So you can give fee2 because this is what now available. දැනට female කියන එක available නැහැ. After replacing දැන් තියෙන fee2 කියන. So fee2 කියලා අපි mean කරන්නේ නැත්නම් female. එයාලට අපිට ඕන දෙන්න වෙන්නේ එක currently available code එක වෙන්නේ මේක. ඒ code එක දෙන්න. Right? Right. On the other way around, you can give the if function. Right? For that, you can create another column. Right? You can insert a column and label it as a gender. Right? And write a if condition equal if this one, sorry, if bracket B2 equals within inverted commas female, close the comma, right? Value if the true නම් value එක 1, comma, false නම් ආපහු female දෙන්න ඕනේ. අපේ option දෙකයි තියෙන male female නම් female false වෙනවා නම් අපි male එක 2 වලට අදාළ value එක දෙන්න. Right? Now you get it and you have to copy it here. Right? And you can get the same result out of that. So using either way or even the manual way, you have to, they make them into quantitative way. So you can apply the same here as well, right? I'm not going to do it here. But when it comes to the research variable, you can perform the same. But be mindful because if you are using 5-point Likert scale, there the term agree is included in several terms. Disagree කියන එකේ තියෙනවා, strongly disagree කියලා තියෙන එකේ තියෙනවා, agree කියලා තියෙන එකේ තියෙනවා, strongly agree කියන එකේ තියෙනවා. So you have to be careful when you are replacing. Instead, you can write an if condition with all these option. මේ option ඔක්කොම එකතු කරලා if එකක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකත් ටිකක් complicated අපිට පහක් තියෙන නිසා. But it can be done with due care. Right? හරිම පරිස්සමෙන් අපිට ඒක කරන්න ඕන පුළුවන් පැටලෙන්නේ නැතුව. නැත්නම් at once you can go for finding and replacing. Right? Assume that this has a 5-point Likert scale where the fifth represent the strongly agree. පස්වෙනි scale එකකින් කියන්නේ strongly agree. දැන් මේක එන්නේ නැති වෙලාවල් තියෙනවා හරියට. ඒ method එකේ වරද නෙවෙයි මොකක් හරි ඔයාගේ අතින් තිබුණු ගැටලුවක් කියලා ආපහු revisit කරන්න. strongly agree කියන එක ඒ විදිහටම type කරලා search කරලා ගන්න. Right? See the number of replacement. Now see the outcome. Right? You can see it has been replacing strongly agree, right? Everywhere. Now you can replace strongly disagree. Right? මේ තියෙන වචනේ ඒ විදිහටම තමයි ගන්න. ටයිපින් මිස්ටේක් එකක් තිබ්බනම් ඒ විදිහටම ඒකත් ගන්න. Right? So we have done with the strongly disagree as well. Now what is remaining? Agree, disagree, average. So strongly disagree is 1 and it has to be get it from your scale. Scale එක හදපු විදිහට ගන්න ඕන, right? Here I'm assuming 5 is the strongly agree, 1 is the strongly disagree. Now, then the disagree is 2 and the agree is 4, right? මම scale එක assume කරා. එතකොට average එක එන්නේ 3 වල. So we'll be replacing average. Right? This is the number of replacement that has been done. Then remaining two values, right? 2 is for disagree. Right? And only one remaining is the agree. Why I was not doing it in order is that the threat or the risk of being replaced with a different digit. Agree is 4. So with this, we will be going for complete replacement, right? So now we are done with these numeric things. No longer you don't need this Likert scale. Likert scale label ටික අපට අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ respondent එක තේරුම් අරන් පිළිතුරු දෙන්න විතරයි. Analysis එකට අපි quantitatively අපි යොදාගන්නේ නැහැ ඒ වගේ string වේදී. Right? Now of course you can label this variable, right? The coding is very essential because this code will be guiding you throughout the analysis process. If you don't have a proper coding for your variable, it will be a burden for you. ඔයාටම problem එකක් වෙනවා ඒක. Right? So by looking at the model, you can now relabel, right, these things. Right? සාමාන්‍ය අපි හදාන item එකක් නෙමෙයි question එකනේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒ question එකට අදාළ term එක variable එක අනුව අපි numbers දෙමින් යනවා. Right? So that is optional. ඒක ඔයගලන්ට ඒක ඕනම අවශ්‍ය විදිහකට කරගන්න පුළුවන් ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. Right? So you can see this researcher was testing credibility with several questions. Credibility A, credibility B, credibility C, credibility no. 1, 2, 3. Then you can have a chord like C R E 1. Right? Or else this way, C R E 1. Next one, C R A 3. Sorry, 2. C R E 3. Then you know by looking at them, this is the first question or the first item which is measuring credibility. And there, of course, there are 3 items to measure the credibility. So this is going to be a multi-item variable. Credibility is a multi-item variable. In the same manner, you have trustworthiness is C. Again 3, right? TRU1, TRU2, TRU3. And the expertise is again 3. So like that way, you have to use codes accordingly, that is matching with your objective, right? So once done with all refining, right? So you can just take this data into the SPSS. There are several ways of means doing it. A simple copy and paste will also work, right? Then maybe they had numerically convert කරගත්ත data ටික අපි අරන් යනවා SPSS එකට. ඒකෙදි අපට අවශ්‍ය විතරයි අපි convert කරගන්නේ. හිතමු ආට මෙතන තියෙන ගොඩක් data අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Which social media group have you ever purchased If yes, your frequency, because these can be used in order to present your data graphically and using tabular method. So this data are rich than the numerics. මෙතන 1 තිබ්බනම් අපිට ඒක ලොකුවට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් yearly කිව්වම අපි දන්නවා මෙයා හරි rare frequency එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ කියන එක. Right? So like that way, you have to adjust your data set. It's your data set, you have to correct it in a way where you want to do the analysis and presentation. Right? So I will be just using a refined data set instead of this thing in order to analysis, but to showcase you that how these things analysis is being done, I will be performing data export, right? If when it's come to the SPSS, it is importing data, right? Now I have been opening the SPSS, you know, and you are familiar with this environment, especially the data view and variable. Whatsoever the things that you want to do with the variable, you do here. And data view present the data, whereas you are not that into do the apply the changes. Instead some basic things. Right. So whatever the analysis you have to do are there in the analyze tab, right? Okay. Now, in getting ready your data set, you have to open data, right? Open your data set. Right. So I'm not using this data set in order to perform the analysis. Instead, I'll be using it in order to demonstrate how you are going to import Google data into the SPSS. Right? Right. Okay. Now, so I don't need this, right? මට මෙයාව ඕන නැහැ. Why? ඒක Google එකේ I don't need, no longer I need this as well. මෙයා ඕනත් නෑ මට because I have this also. I made a mistake because there's a reference. I have to keep it, or else I have to insert another variable and copy this and paste it as value only, right? Because there has a reference to this A2. Now, of course, I can delete both. Right? I may have age with me, right? If you feel like changing, you can change, right? You can change the name here later as well. මෙතන හදන්න පුළුවන් වාට අවශ්‍ය විදිහට මේවා වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? මෙතන the questions වෙනුවට short variable දාගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? And this is an open question. Right? Now, this is a question, last question. Right? Okay, now you go to SPSS and you can select open file data and go to the place where you have been saving it. And here, if you have not selected all file, it may not be visible to you. If the all file option is not there, that is there, you can select the Excel. මේක Excel extension එක තියෙන හින්දා Excel select කරොත් මේක පේන්නේ එහෙම නැත්නම් SPSS by default එයා පෙන්නන්නේ SPSS and folders විතරයි, right? Now you can select it and give the command paste. Once you give the command paste, it will be asking us this validation. මේ validation එක අහනවා. මේ range එකද worksheet එක මොකද Excel එකේ worksheets කීපයක් active වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ බලන්න මගේ නම් මේකේ නම් තියෙන එකයි. responses 1 කියලා මේ වගේ කීපයක් data තිබුණොත් ඔයා right worksheet එක තෝරගන්න ඕන. ඒකටයි මේ worksheet එක අහන්නේ. right? ඔයාගේ මේක මේ first worksheet එක නෙවෙයි නම් අපේ data තියෙන්නේ මෙතනින් drop down button එකෙන් select කරන්න පුළුවන්. Read variable names from the first row of data. අපේ variable names data set එකේ first row එකේ තියෙනවද කියලා අහනවා. Of course there are. නේ? අපේ මේ පළවෙනි row එකේ තියෙන්නේ අපේ variables වල නම්, right? Percentage of values that determine data type, right? Keep it as 95 as it is, right? And ignore hidden rows and columns if you wish to do, right? And removing leading spaces assign කරලා string එකක් නම් අර hyphen එක දාන එකත් අපිට මෙතනින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Say for example here you can see we have been placing spaces. එකයි online අතර space එකක් තියෙනවා. But you know SPSS is not allowing for spaces. So I can ask to replace or remove these spaces. මෙතනදී මේ space එක විසඳන්න තාන්න පුළුවන් remove කරන්න කියන එක. Right? Once you give that command, you can say okay. Right? Now you can see the data have been pasted here without any problem, whereas you can start analyzing if you wish to do so as it is. But you know that there are many changes to be done which you have to apply in the variable view. මේ variable view එකට ගිහිල්ලා දැන් ඔයාගේ data වල changes කරගන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේක හිතෙන්න පුළුවන් ඇයි මේක copy paste කරලා right Google Sheet එක Excel එකේදී change කරගන්නේ නැතුව ඇවිල්ලා copy paste කරලා වෙනස් කරන්න බැරි ඇයි කියලා, right? Let us try the same, right? අපි පොඩ්ඩක් එක try කරලා බලමු. Right, so now this is before saving and I'm going to upload it to another SPSS data file. Before that I'm going to save this one. Let me save it. Right. One method is you can press Control A and you can press C, Control C, that means to copy and go to the data set. And in the data view, you can't paste it in the variable view. In the data view, you can give paste command. Right? Paste with variable name command can be given. Now you can see the data has been pasted in this way, right? If you wish to replace these things, you don't have an option here. Neither find and replace nor this if condition can be performed. Instead, you have to record it, right? අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ recording. ඔයාලා මතක නම් අපි recording කරලා තියෙනවා. Recording into same variable and different variable. මේ option එකේ යන්න පුළුවන්. But what will happen when it comes to the recording? You can see data type has been identified as string. String එකක්. මේ string එක තියෙද්දි යාගෙන් කිසිම numeric calculation එකක් කරන්න බෑ. මොකද වචන කියන විදිහට තමයි මෙයා අඳුරගෙන ඉන්නේ. මොකද data type එක වචන වෙලා තියෙන නිසා. ඒකට අපි කරන්න ඕන අපි analysis එක කරන්න මේවා numeric කරගන්න. numeric කරපු ගමන් වෙන option වෙන situation එක බලන්න. right? මම numeric කරා කියලා ඔක්කොම numeric කරමු. Control C. Right, now numeric. What has happened to the data? They have been vanished. Why? Now we have made the cell a numeric one. Whereas at the time of converting the cell into from numeric to string, string to numeric, there was a string variable, string value එකක් තිබ්බා. So sooner it has been converted, no longer it can be accommodated in this cell. string value එකක් තියෙද්දි අපි ඒක numeric කරපු ගමන් එයාට string value එක hold කරන්න බෑ. මොකද එයා numeric නිසා automatically data ටික ඔක්කොම erase වෙනවා. So that's why we have been converting it in the Excel and importing the data as a numeric values. Right? I think you understand the situation. So there are some lengthy methods of getting the data into it, but I think for the time being and for a simple measure, as a simple measure, you can convert the data in the Excel using either method and then come into the data SPSS file with this numeric data, right? Now, of course, it's time to refine it. You can refine it as the way you want. See, these things we have been converting. අපි මේවා convert කරලාමයි ගෙනාවේ. ඉතින් මේවා මෙහෙම numeric වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ තියෙන්නේ අර convert නොකරපු කොටස් ටික. Alright? Okay, now you can see these have been mentioned as question. And the ones that I have been converting, මම demonstrate කරනවාට convert කරපු ප්‍රමාණය ඒව convert වෙලා තියෙන ලස්සනට පිළිවෙලට ඔයාලට අඳුන ගන්න පුළුවන්. So your role is to rename. මෙතනදී rename කරා කියලා ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. Let the question be the label. Question එක label එක විදිහට තියාගන්න. අනිත් ඒවා මේ පැත්තෙන් name එක, name of the variable should be very short and should be a reflective one, right? So you can refine all those things like the way we have been doing for credibility, trustworthiness 1, right? TRU 2, Here view 3, right? Expertise 1, expertise 2, expertise 3, right? Attractiveness 1, use 2, right? Clear? Right. පැහැදිලි නේද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට? මං හිතනවා, right? මේ විදිහට සියලුම variable මේ විදිහට නම් කරගන්න. මේවට short demographic part එකනේ මේ තියෙන්නේ. මේවටත් short question variable names දෙනවා නම් වඩා හොඳයි. Right? Usage. Do you use social media network? Then you can say usage. Right? Then platform and purchasing, right? So like that way you can convert them as the way you want. And necessarily you have to convert the measurement, right? Measurement එක අපි convert කරගන්න ඕන, right? Why it is needed to convert the measurement? Because it affects our analysis. Gender is a nominal one. Age, earlier that was a categorical variable. So you can categorize it. You have to convert it into numeric. මේවා string තියාගන්න එපා. ඒවා numeric ම කරගන්න. ඒක Excel එකේ convert කරලම ගේන එක තමයි මම recommend කරන්නේ. Right? මේ විදිහට change කරගන්න. අපි research variable වලට එමු. මේවා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම scale කියන measurement scale එකේ තියෙනවා. Otherwise, it is affecting to our analysis. Right. Right? Okay, so that's how we have to get ready your data set. Hope this is sufficient for you to convert your data and whatever the values you need for your data presentation, you have to feed the value safe. You know how to do it. And make a values on now. Of course, gender is having numeric. Gender has been inserted as numeric variable, which is comprised of 2 digits. Digits එකකින් gender එක අපි දීලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මෙතනට label එක feed කරනවා. ඒක අවශ්‍ය නම් දැන් pie chart එකකදී වගේ ගන්න නම් අපිට මේක sorry. This is one. This is label is feed. pie chart එකට වගේ ගන්නකොට මේ label එක අවශ්‍ය වෙන නිසා මේ ටික හදන්න ඕන. And this Likert scale one, if you wish, you can add, but when it's come to the correlation, nor the regression, we don't mind whether it is strongly agree or disagree. අපි categorically never evaluate කරන්න. ඒතර values දෙන්න අත්‍යවශ්‍යම නැහැ. ඔයාලට අවශ්‍ය නම් 1 to 5, right? Value එක 5 කියන්නේ strongly agree. agree කියලා දීගල්ලා තියන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඒ විදිහට පහම add කරලා තියන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඒක තිබුණත් නැතත් හානියක් නැහැ. analysis එකට ඒක බලපාන්නේ. but presentation විදිහට demographic එහෙම නැත්නම් pie chart වලට ගන්න ඕන නම් මේ විදිහට value එක feed කරන්න වෙනවා මේ හැම එකම. income categories නම් ඒ right? Okay. Are you comfortable enough in getting the data set in the Google Sheet into the SPSS? Is it clear? Yes, I need your feedback. Clear or not? Yes, I'm waiting for your answer.
Yes, madam, clear.
Right, okay, thank you. Right, now of course we can, let's have a break, right? And after that we will be starting over to do data uh, preparation in SPSS plus the analysis, right? We will be joining by 9. Hello, can we start again? Right, so I'm start sharing the screen, right? Hope I'm audible. So you are now comfortable in getting the Google Form data into the data SPSS, right? Now I begin opening another data set. Right. Yeah. So this is a data set in which the researcher were looking in how the wait a second. I'll be showing the model. Right, so this is how it has been developed. This is a research in which the author was testing how these independent variables are affecting to this dependent variable. Independent variable has been identified as a manager competencies, while the dependent variable has been identified as employee resilience. And here the manager competencies has been identified as a mediator variable. Actually, this is not a mediator. These are the dimension of it, right? So that is one way of drawing the same model. And the project duration has been introduced into this model as a moderator variable, right? Now I'm going to prepare the data set in order to perform these analysis. Alternatively, we can develop another model out of this one, whereas you don't have these manual competencies as a construct in this variable. Instead, you are going to have this as a direct relationship, right? And I will be drawing the same as well. Right, first I'm going to show you how we are going to perform the data, get ready data to be analyzed. Now assume that this is the data set that you have been getting from the Google form, or else manually entered. There's a variable which has not been converted, right? Strongly agree. Yes. So I'll be just replacing them. This is how the author researcher has been feeding data. He has been using 10-point scale, 0 to 10, right? Strongly agree 0, whereas, sorry, 0 is for strongly disagree and 10 for strongly agree. Right. Okay, since many of you have been using this Google form in which you can mandate all question, many of you might not have received the missing one. නේ ඔගොල්ලෝ Google form එක ගොඩ දෙනෙක් පාවිච්චි කරා නම් ඒකේ හැම question එකම mandate කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා missing values ඒ තරම්ම නැතුව ඇති right බොහෝ වෙලාවට නැතුව ඇති. නමුත් එහෙම තියෙන වෙලාවල් වලට missing අපි define කරන්න ඕන. missing value ටික define කරන්න purification එකට තමයි incomplete data, inappropriate data identify කරලා change කරන්න. Like what I was doing. Right? Somehow it has been printed as wrongly agree. Instead, I have replacing it with the value, right? Now, you know, a variable is comprised of items. Items keep taking tamai variable එකක් හැදලා තියෙන්නේ. But in the regression or correlation formula, what we consider is not the item but the variable. අපි මොඩල් එකේ අපි ස්පෙસિෆයි කරලා තියෙන්නේ අපි ඇනලයිස් කරන්න භාවිතා කරන්නේ variable. So we need to create the variables which are not being here now out of the items. දැන් අපි ගාව තියෙන items වලින් අපි create කරන්න variable එකක්. උදාහරණයක් විදිහට communication competency CC is there in the model, right? Hope you can see the model, right? අර model එක පේනවා කියලා මම හිතනවා, right? නැත්තම් කියන්න, right? CC කියලා variable මේ item එකක්වත් variable එකක්වත් මේ data වල නැහැ. So then there should be a mechanism of estimating CC, that's the communication competency, out of the CC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are several methods out of which many use the average method. Right? Mean එක පාවිච්චි කරන එක තමයි බොහෝ දෙනා කරන්නේ. But when it comes to these structural regression modeling kind of techniques, they have very sophisticated techniques of estimating latent variable. මේ item පහ පාවිච්චි කරලා ප්‍රශ්න පහේ එන values වලින් communication competency කියන එකට value එකක් generate කිරීම structural equation modeling වගේ technique වලින් වඩා හොඳින් කරනවා. නමුත් මේකදී අපි කරන්නේ mean එක අරගෙන මේ ප්‍රශ්න හතරෙම නියෝජිතයෙක් එහෙම නැත්නම් ප්‍රශ්න හතරෙම තියෙන වටිනාකම නියෝජනය වෙන විදිහේ value එකක් create කරනවා. For that you need to go into the transform and creating compute variable, right? So I will be minimizing this. මොකද දැන් ඔයාට CC1, CC2, CC3, CC4, 5 කියන එක අපිට correlation analysis එකට හරි මොකකට හරි දෙන්න බෑ. Right? ඒක නිසා අපි කරන්නේ මේ විදිහට මේ ටික එකතු කරලා compress කරගන්නේ. Right? Is it clear? Right? If you have any problem, please ask. Now, what the variable we are going to create? The communication competency. Right? I'm going to shorten it as CC. And there's another variable known as CC1. That is the first question of the communication competency variable. How I'm going to change it or create it? Do I have any values for it? No, I haven't measured it. Instead, I have been measuring 5 questions about the communication competency. So I'm going to take the average. There you can get the statistical tool package, and there you have the mean. In the mean, you have to give these items or the variables into the formula. Right? By double clicking, you can add them. But make sure you need to place a comma between 2 items. එතන කමාවක් දාන්න. Right? Okay, now we have been given a command to create a new variable. You can select the type and the label here as well. Right? Numeric or string කියන එක තෝරගන්න පුළුවන්. By default, it's a numeric one, so no need to change it. right? So how it is going to create the CC? It will be taking the mean value of these 5 items. So it will be a representative of this. මේ පහේම නියෝජනය කරන value එකක් තමයි එන්නේ. Right? You can give OK command and it won't appear here because it's a new variable. Instead, it will show you the formula. Compute CC equal mean CC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, ඔයා වැරද්දක් හරි මොකුත් කරලා තියෙනවා නම් මේ ෆෝමියුලා එකෙන් බලන්න පුළුවන්. හිතමු CC5 මට මග ඇරුණා නම් මෙතනින් මට පෙන්නන 4ක average එක විතරයි මම අරන් තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Then again you can compute. Execute this mean that you have it has been performing it. Right. There are many data sets open. Right. This is the one we are working on. Oh, no, not that one. Right, this one here. You may see now in the variable view, you will get another new variable such as CC1. What is it? This is the right. Right. Right, so this is the data set. Let me close all other variable data sets. Let me first save it. Right. Okay. Now you can see the variable CC has been created. So it has the same scale and all. And if you wish, you can add this label and these Likert scale values and all, right? Yeah, and when you go to the data set, you will be seeing a value, right? Okay. Right, same way you have to create other variables too, right? The communication competency is the first, and there's another one, planning administrative competency, PAC. The same way you have to create a variable, PAC, right? You need to get this mean, right? You can get it done in the SPSS as well, right? Without bringing these items here, you can just get the average and bring only that variable here. But when it's come to calculating the reliability and the validity and as well the common method variance, you need the items, right? Items ඕන වෙනවා. වාට ඒ කියන measures ටික calculate කරන්න ගියා. Right, and we are going to go with another variable that is P after PSC TC, right? So if you have any question, please raise. I prefer if this goes as an interactive one. එමේ යනවා නම් හොඳයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ කතා කරනවා නම් සහ respond කරනවා නම්. Right? And no need to go to this data view in order to create the variable compute analysis. Or ඉන්න තැනම ඉඳන්ම කරන්න පුළුවන්. SAC is another one. Right, we have done global awareness competency. Now strategic management competency. Right. Now the dependent variable employee resilience. Yeah. Right. Right. Okay, we have been creating every variable according to the way that this author has been drawn the model. Right. There are two models. We need another variable of manager competencies. මේවා dimension විදිහට item වලින් එනවා ඊළඟට මේව මේ competencies එකතු වෙලා manager competency හැදෙනවා කියන එක තමයි යා කියන්නේ. So we need another variable out of the all the related competencies. So how we are going to do it? You will create an MC, right? Manager competence. How you are going to get MC? With the mean value of all the variables that you have been creating. That is CC, right? CC, PSC, TC, SAC, GAC, SMC. Oh, instead you can give all these items as well. මේ CC1 ඉඳන් සියලුම items ටික SMC5 වෙනකන් දීමත් එකම result එක එන්න උගුරු ගන්නවා. mean එක ඒ විදිහට ගත්තත් එකම එකක් තමයි එන්නේ. And this project duration, right? moderator විදිහට දීලා තියෙන එක අපේ demographic වල තියෙනවා මේක set එක. project duration by years. Yes. Okay. The average time duration of the project. That's a numerical variable that's there. Now, of course, you have your data ready to be analyzed, right? ආගේ data දැන් analyze කරන්න පුළුවන් මට්ටමට ගෙනල්ලා තියෙනවා, right? Of course, now we have to, so this whole thing fall into the data preparation. මේ අවස්ථාව දක්වා වැටෙන්නේ data preparation එක purification උත් මේ එකම කරන්න ඕන. But there is no much because Google data වල වෙන්න තියෙන වැරදි ගොඩක් අඩුයි. There are some cases, so I might be replacing it, right? So මේවා change කරන්න ඕන මම. ඇතර මේ කරන්න ඕන compress කරන්න කලින්, right? I notice it, right? ඔයක observe කරලා ඒක කරන්න ඕන. මොකද මේක ඇවරේජ් කරායින් පස්සේ ආපහු මේ වැලියු එක යන්නේ අප්ඩේට් වෙන්නේ Excel formula එකක් නම් එහෙම අප්ඩේට් වෙනවා but here it doesn't, right? Okay, right. Then you can perform the analysis whatever you need with the data now you are having, because now of course you have variables. Earlier they were item only, now you have variable. You can use these values for any of the technique that you want to do, right? That is that part okay? Now we are comfortable in getting the averages and coding them properly and making ready the data set of yours to be analyzed using any technique. මේ steps එකට එනකන් clearද? Now you can see you have this variable as decimals because they are getting these averages. Is it clear? Yes or no? Yes. So hope you can hear me. You don't have an idea. Yes, I need your feedback to proceed into the next level. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
So, yes, where you are you okay? You're comfortable in doing up to this level?
Yes, madam.
Right. Thank you. At least there's a single student who are responsible. Right. Yeah, okay. Let's do this reliability, command method, variance, and the validity testing. But relating to the validity testing, many of the students are performing Bartlett test, right? KMO and Bartlett test, which I don't agree with because the KMO Bartlett test is testing the sample adequacy for a factor analysis. But in case of validity testing with the SPSS, only very limited validity and reliability measures can be taken. Especially we can't get the discriminant validity. Convergent validity, of course, you can take. And the split half reliability and this internal consistency can be obtained through this. Right. So are we doing the reliability analysis first with this data? Um, if anyone of willing to share your data set with me so that I can perform the analysis with your data set, because this data set I have been using uh, for your teaching as well as I can remember, right? As long as I can remember, I was using this one. But if you are willing to give your own model and a data set, I'm okay with that. So then you will be getting more exposure with a related model, right? මොකද ගොඩාක් දෙනාගේ model එක වගේ නිසා ඔයාලගේ model එකට ඕන data set එක analyze කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයගොල්ලෝ එහෙම share කරගන්න කැමති නම්. right? එහෙම නැත්නම් මම මේ data set එක analysis එක කරා. Yes, anyone who is willing to share the data with us? Yes. No. Okay. Right, then we'll be analyzing this data. Right, let me get another data set. Right. right? This is much more familiar, right? Should be familiar with you, right? This is a research which is testing LMS. This is quite complicated. We'll be getting religiosity model. Right, this is a very simple model and I will be testing it with you. This model 2, we'll be using the model 2. In this research, what has been tested, how the religiosity is affecting to the employee engagement, right? So can you see the screen? No, right. Okay, how about now? Hope you can see it now. Right. I'm focusing on this second model, whereas we have been identifying the dimensions of religiosity leading to the employee engagement. These are the dimensions. Knowing, doing, feeling is the dimensions of religiosity, and vigor, dedication, absorption is the dimension of engagement. Right? මේ විදිහට present කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? එක hypothesis එකක් මෙතන හදලා තියෙන. මෙතන hypothesis තුනක් හදලා තියෙනවා dimension level එකට ගිහලා. මේ තියෙන්නේ variable level එකකින් විතරක් analyze කරන model එකක්. Now you can use your model in order to analyze almost all of the alternative ways. දැන් data set එක හදාගෙන තියෙන්නේ. ඔයාට මේ ඕනම විදිහකට මේ analysis එක කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Here comes the data. Right. Okay, you can see the missing value has been included and all, right? Now, of course, we need to calculate the reliability, right? But I'm not going to explain here what is meant by reliability because that theoretical stuff has been already covered. Reliability in its simple form means whether the item falling into one construct, one variable, are related internal, right? Reliability is measuring through the internal consistency if the items of a single variable are having high level of relationship or a correlation. Simply, if V1, V2, V3 is measuring the vigor, or these three should be having a high level of correlation, right? So there are instances where students are measuring the reliability as a bulk. Engagement එකට ආйти ඔක්කොම ප්‍රශ්න ටික එක සැරේ ෆීඩ් කරා ඒකින් engagement එකේ reliability එක ගත්තා, right? ඊළඟට religiosity එකට අදාළ දේවල් ටික ඔක්ක සැරේ ෆීඩ් කරා ඒ value එක ගත්තා. No, if you are going to analyze it in the dimension level, you have to consider dimensions. Vigor as a single one and the dedication it as a single one, absorption as a single one. Like that way, you have to feed them different separately and obtain values, reliability values for each. Because you can't put these scales at the same level. Right, එකම level එක update කරන්න බෑ, right? So I'm getting the analysis and this is reliability analysis is there. Go to the analyze scale and there you have reliability analysis. So out of this you can obtain the display variable names here, right? And you have to do it one by one. Vigor first, then model by default is alpha and you can go for the split half as well, but converge alpha measure is quite okay and accepted for social scientists. So you can give all. Then the results are being displayed in this table, this one. You can see Cronbach alpha value is 0.5, where there's only 3 items, right? So you know, for the social scientists, we can accept up to 0.6. But this seems to be having a problem because it's less than 0.6. So what we can do is, we will be, we can obtain this value, right? So by reducing the low performing, low contributing item. So in order to see it, you have to go to analyze again and reliability analysis. There's an option under the statistics. You have to take this one. Scale if item deleted. Under the descriptives for scale if item deleted. It means what will be the Converge alpha value if we delete a certain question, right? So it gives this value. So we need this value to identify which one we are going to erase. Right now we are getting this table, right? Please disturb me if I'm not delivering what I intend to delete, right? ඔය ක්ලියර් නැත්තම් පැහැදිලි ගැටලුවක් තියෙනවා නම් එහෙම නැත්තම් ඒ ඕනම ගැටලුවකදී මේක තේරෙන්න නැත්තම් කතා කරන්න. Right? Scale mean if item deleted. And the Cronbach alpha if item deleted. You can see the maximum that we can reach is 0.595. If you delete the question number 1, the Cronbach alpha value can be raised up to 0.595. Right? So that's a quite increase, right? Good increase, and it is closer to 0.0 as well. So the authorities might be consider that as an option, right? So the researcher කෙනෙක් යාගේ authority යටතේ යාට පුළුවන් මේ item එක drop කරලා මෙන්න මේ දෙකින් Cronbach alpha එක calculate කරලා යන්න. ඒ වගේම analysis එකටත් මෙයාව exclude වෙන්න ඕන, right? Like that way, you have to perform all the reliability analysis things, and you have to select variables, right? Right, okay. I will be performing another one. You can see this one, 0.7. So this is an acceptable level. 0.6 ඉඳන් අපි accept කරන නිසා 0.7 okay. So no need to go deeper in skimming, which can be contributing more, right? And you can see this is 0.778, but if you have been removing this one, it will raise 0.795, right? මෙතන ඉඳන් මේ වැල්යු එකට වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒ වැඩි වීම අවශ්‍ය නම් කරන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් of course 0.6 over achieve කරා කියන්නේ එයාගේ හොඳ contribution එකක් තියෙනවා කියන්නේ, right? So but after getting all these results, we are not reporting this one, and we will be reporting the same. මෙතනින් අපි item එකක් අයින් කරලා ආපහු run කරනවා නම් ඒ result එක තමයි consider කරන්නේ, right? So by extracting this data, you can report the internal consistency. Right. Hope that part is clear. Next, I will be showing you how to get the common method bias or common method variance. So this is done as a part of a confirmatory factor analysis. Right? So you go to analyze, and under the dimension reduction, the factor will be there. Right? Then the factor analysis will be performed with all the research data. Right? These are some of the variables that I have been creating. You have to give some descriptives, right? And KMO Bartlett test, you have to say okay here. Extraction method, yeah. Hope you can remember. We will be extract using principal component method, and we'll be looking into that eigenvalue. Yes, iteration 25. Right, okay. Then how you extract? It should be based on the eigenvalue, and it is there by default. Eigenvalue එක එකට වැඩි නම් ඒ factors extract කරනවා කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. When you be looking into the rotation, you can go with the varimax rotation. Those are not mandate, right? Right. So by inserting all these variables and specifying rotation, you can say okay. Right, ඔයාට තේරෙනවා මේ result එක ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන result එකත් එක්ක අපි බලන්න මේ table එක නෙවෙයි අපි refer කරන්න මෙන්න මේ table. In this table, if you can remember your fact analysis knowledge, in this table, you are getting a number of components in this column. That means the factors that can be extracted. අපි දුන්න criteria එක තමයි eigen value එක. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ තියෙන value එක total මේ eigen values initial eigen value එක මේ eigen value එක එකට වඩා වැඩි නම් ඒ ප්‍රමාණය factor එකක් විදිහට consider කරනවා. එකෙන් අදහස් වෙන්නේ මෙතන තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න 19ක්. මේ ප්‍රශ්න 19 අපට කණ්ඩායම් 4කට වෙන් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක තමයි කියන්නේ. මේ eigen value එක base කරගෙන, right? group කරන්න පුළුවන් 4කට. right? එහෙම group කරනකොට පළවෙනි fact එක total variance එකෙන් කොච්චර explain කරනවද කියන එක තමයි common method variance එකෙන් අපි බලන්නේ. right? common method variance එක යටතේ මේ single fact එක පළවෙනි fact එකෙන් explain කරනවා නම් 150ට වඩා එතන ගැටලුවක් තියෙනවා. මොකද factors 4ක් තියෙන වෙලාවක 150ක්ම explain කරන්න මේ variable එකෙන් නම් එතන අනිත් variable වලට expression ඒකට යන්න තියෙන හැකියාව අඩුයි කියන එක තමයි පැහැදිලි වෙන්නේ. right? මෙතන මොකද cumulative ප්‍රමාණය 50 නම් 50ට වඩා වැඩි. That means more than 50. Right? So if this cumulative value is more than 50, we say that there's a bias. Right? Common method bias is there. මොකද එක factor එකකින් 150ක් අනිත් factors තුනෙන්ම ඉතුරු 150 පරිවර්තනය වෙන නිසා. Right? Okay, right? So that is common method bias. If this is more than 50%, you have to report it and you have to get some advices too, right? So there are many which has not been mentioned, right? But anyhow, you have to look into this figure, right? Okay. Right. So that is common method bias testing. And sample adequacy can be tested. Actually, these students are testing it, but I don't principally agree with testing the sampling at sample adequacy using the KMO and Barwick test. Instead, I'm proposing you to obtain the correlation of these variables, right? So how we are going to do it? You want to showcase that there's no significant correlation in between the dimension which are of different nature, right? Construct එක හිතමු communication competency කියලා communication competency එකේ පහක් තිබුණා නම් right taking අපි පෙන්නනවා කොච්චර ප්‍රමාණයක් අපට effectively contribute කරනවද කියන කාරණා. Right. Okay. In order to obtain this correlation related technique, what you have to do is you have to go to correlation. I will be performing the same command. Analyze correlation bivariate. Then you have to give right. Of course, in order to obtain the bivariate correlation, you have to feed the this dimension, right? Dimensions අතර significant correlation එකක් නැහැ කියලායි පෙන්නන්නේ. Right? First you can take this one, right? That is vigor, dedication and absorption. Falling into the independent variable. Independent variable එකේ dimension තුනක් විදිහට තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Right? So then we will be taking Pearson correlation. Right, okay. Now you can see the correlation. For this we call a correlation matrix. In order to distinguish one from another at the Right. Here, among the items, you have to test whether there's correlation going between 0.3. 0.3 වලට වඩා වැඩි වෙන correlation එකක් තියෙන items තියෙනවා නම් එතන discriminate validity එක violate වෙලා තියෙනවා. Right? Validity අතින් එතන ගැටලුවක් තියෙනවා. Right? But ඒක තිබිය යුත්තේ ඒ dimension එකට පිටින් තියෙන ඒවත් එක තමයි. Right? Say for example, here in this case, what's that? Right. I think it's clear for you. Right here, you have to monitor one by one in the other construct, right? පුරාණික construct එක මේක වෙනස් වෙනවද කියලා බලන්න. Monitor කරන්න ඕන, right? That's how we are going to look into the validity, right? There are many validity measures as well, but for the time being, we will be using the existing. Right, okay. And that is validity, reliability, and common method variance. Next comes the descriptive analysis. When performing descriptive analysis, it's a one-step process. It can be done very easily, right? You can go to the analyze descriptive statistics, and there are many more options from where you can get the descriptives. That is descriptive statistic, descriptives. Then you have to take whatever the things you need. Right. Here you have to select whatever the descriptive you want. Mean, standard deviation, variance, maximum, minimum, kurtosis, skewness, right? මේවා අපිට select කරන්න පුළුවන්. Variance එක standard deviation එකේ ගානේ ලොකු නෑ. Right? So like that way you have to select only the available ones. Sorry, I haven't feeded the data. So when you are going to get this descriptive, you have to come into this. Right. Okay, I'll be giving religiosity and engagement now. Now, of course, I'm not feeding these items. Minute items never feed kara. Now, by default, it is there, right? ඒක තියෙන නිසා right. So these are descriptive statistics. You can type it at your own, or else you can directly copy and paste. You can see there's a discrepancy in terms of the end statistics because Right. Any question? මෙතන බලන්න in statistic එක වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙන missing value නිසා මතක තියාගන්න. Minimum is there, maximum is there, mean, standard deviation, and here of course it witness that there's no such issue. Right? Are you okay? Comfortable with all these things? Right, okay, let's move into this statistical data analysis. There, of course, I am supposed to teach you the correlation and regression, and both of them has assumption. You have to refer back to the note and you have to perform the assumption. Other than that, you need to get a rate from them. Right, okay. Statistical analysis correlation. Now I'm going to perform the correlation analysis. Right, it's very simple. Analyze, correlate, bivariate. Correlation is a technique which is used to explain two attributes of a relationship. Right, so whether the relationship is a positive and a negative one. That is one thing usually done in different contexts in different ways, right? That is correlation between these two variables. And if you need some statistics, you want to go to the option. Again, if you need the mean and standard deviation, yes, you can, or else in between you can add. Right. Okay, this is there. Right. Now, of course, we have obtained correlation. Right. For the religiosity, we have 99, engagement 0.1.0. Sorry, 104, sorry. Now, of course, so that is this n value actually. And this is the correlation. You can see the correlation is not that powerful, but still it is having faith. Right. So when you are reporting, you can report this table as it is, or else what you can do is you can type it your own. And whenever you are presenting, make sure this duplication is there. It is testing religiosity with religiosity. That's how it can turn into one. And this religiosity with engagement. Right. And now, of course, you need to interpret results. Results ගත්තට මදි interpret කරන්න ඕන. Interpretation එක තමයි අපි කරන්නේ මේ figure එකෙන් මේ Pearson correlation. And this significant value will be testing in order to highlight it with this value, right? So this one says that correlation is significant at 0.01, right? Then it's a positive relationship, right? Based on your interpretation in the chapter 3, you can write it clear, right? And you have to perform this p-value 1. Right. Next, here of course you have to first say that the religiosity is positively connected with the engagement, whereas the Pearson correlation of 0.284 is statistically significant. Right. So once you have presented this table, you can illustrate ways used on these values and as well p-value and all. Right. Wow, we are off it. Right now, I'm moving directly into the regression because of the timing factor. Now, of course, assume that the author doesn't want to see the relationship. Instead, much deeper investigation is needed. Right? Unfortunately, here you can see the data that we have been using has limited variables, but I believe still you can make it a learning point. Right now, it's a matter of feeding the digits. Regression, you have to go to the linear regression. But there are other options which you can self-study and practice. Right. Now, of course, you have to identify what is the dependent variable. What is it? It's the employee resilience. Now, of course, it has been fallen into right. Dependent variable is employee resilience. So we input it. And then all other independent variable has to be included into this state. Right, so this entering of this independent variable can be done in different ways. Entering stepwise, backward, forward, removal, like that. But when it's come to this same category of variable, it is okay to include them as right. We have to specify the statistics. There you need to get, these are the by default estimate model fitting, right? And the quality diagnosis you have to tick off, and the Durbin Watson has to be tick off. And here, of course, descriptives are offered, are change. Right, okay, this is done. You can give okay, and there are plots if you wish to get, and you need to have the residual plot, right? Here here, and you need the normal probability plot, right? You know, test the normality, right? Assumption test කරනට අවශ්‍ය වෙන ටික මෙතනදී click කරගන්න. Now you have been getting this result. You can see the variable entered and variable removed, and this is the model summary. Based on that, R square value is the one that we are interpreting. Right. Okay. Here the model summary, as you are aware. Here you will be getting the R square value and adjusted R square value. There's no much difference. If you have been changing your scale, you may use it. Next, the Durbin-Watson value. This is used to test the autocorrelation. The value should be less than 1. Right. So here, the ANOVA test testing the statistical significance of the model summary. Right. Right here. You can see these values, and model is significant. You can test it using this value. Right. And meantime, you can see this beta value. මේ ANOVA table එක value ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා. මෙතනින් suggest කරපු predictive model එක 157.2 predictive model එක කොච්චර දුරට statistically significant ද කියන එක මෙන්න මේ value එකකින් කියන්නේ. Right? Right. Based on these values, which one is having the highest influence? Yes. Yes, it's going to be this, so it gives us strong message, right, for us. See on this model. Right. This beta value will be used in order to test the significance, right? Based on the significance, you can see only these three. The public administration competency is a public administration, no personal awareness, sorry. And this TC and again SMC. Rest of the competencies were not statistically significant. මේ මෙතන දෙකයි constant එකක් නැහැ. මෙතනත් දෙකයි. Yes. Okay, then with that you can write your result section and you can incorporate this multiple right. Okay. There, of course, before present the final results, you need to mention the multivariate assumption because here, of course, we are putting many variable in a single model. So we need to multivariate assumption. Right, so this VIF value will be used in order to test the multicollinearity, whereas VIF value beyond maybe severe cases be going beyond 10 and we can't accept. If it is less than 10, it's acceptable. If it is 5, less than 5, it is quite acceptable, and the ones rest of the things have uh, VIF value that is indicating a very low level of tolerate level of multiple. Right, and apart from that, I have been picking some of the graphs and all to support with your assumption testing. So this is a normal PP plot. Here, you have to interpret it in a way that this dotted line shows the actual occurrence is the ideal, and there's a slight deviation of the same. Right, and this is the scatter plot. Using scatter plot, you can prove the homomorphicity, and this is the normal PPT plot. Right, that is how we extract data for this assumption. Right, this one is used for residual analysis. Right, make a residual analysis. මේ residual analysis එක අපි දාන්න very extreme situation වලදී තමයි අපි residual analysis එක base කරගෙන alteration එකක් යන්නේ. But when it's come to this type of academic things, that won't problem. So you should not be bothering about the way that you are having your address. Yes. මේ ටික තමයි අපිට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ නේද? It's asking the normal curve. Should I delete it? No. Yeah, interpretation of the results, you know that way that we have been doing it. දැන් ඉන්ටර්ප්‍රිට් කරපු එක මොඩල් සමරි එක හැටියට අපි percentage එක අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. This value is 57.2. What does it mean? 57. The 57.2 of the employee resilience is being explained by his competency. Right. Any questions from your end? I'm not sure whether I have been covering the entire thing you needed. And now, of course, I think it's we waited too long, right? We went beyond 10 o'clock as well. You must be tired and after a heavy working day, and which is same for the myself as well. Sometimes I felt like that I am losing the touch here, right? Maybe I have been giving some different interpretation, but I don't think that it is affecting to the overall outcome of these results and how I have been interpreted. Because this went along with a one-way communication, no interaction at all. So assume the uh, yes the results. right? කවුරුත් කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ මේ පැය ගානක් එක දිගට කතා කරගෙන ඉද්දි ස්ක්‍රීන් එකට මොන විදිහේ දෙයක් වෙනවද කියන එක තමයි ඔයාලට හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් මං හිතන්නේ. රයිට් නමුත් මම ඔයාලව කන්ෆියුස් කරේ නෑ කියලා මං හිතනවා. right? Any question from your end? Why addressing your requirements? Is there any different model that you want me to perform here? වෙනත් model එකක් තියනවද කරන්න ඕන මම? You can quickly send me the model and the data set and we can run the analysis for you. Yes? Yes or no? Hello? Hope I'm reaching out to you, right? Do you hear me? Right. Since there's no response from them, I consider it as an acceptance to my query. ඔයාලට ඒ කොටස අපෑදිලිතාවයක් නැතුව තේරුණා කියන එක මම හිතනවා එකත් එක්ක රයිට් එහෙම නොවුනනම් මට ඉන්ෆෝම් කරන්න මම අපහු ඔයගලන්ට ඒක කවප් කරන්නම් right. And there will be another data analysis workshops as well in future with relating to this other technique, qualitative data analysis and as well ANOVA, right? Yeah. Right, shall we wind up then?
Thank you, madam, for your insightful session on data analysis. Your expertise and knowledge have been invaluable in making this workshop a success. So that brings us to the end of the session today. Thank you all for your participation and good night to all of you.
Thank you, ECV, and good night, everyone.